Usually we cast Warcraft 3, or in today's case we play Warcraft 3. Today is a little different because I saw on Twitter that FrostGiant is having a dev update today. That's pretty damn good. FrostGiant, of course, the studio that produces the new RTS Hope, which is Stormgate. And hopefully we see something cool. That will happen in half an hour. So I thought, since we have half an hour and we gather the troops anyway, let's watch it together. It's the reaction meta anyway, right? So let's see what these guys are doing. Oh, it's so loud. Let me know if the audio is alright for you guys. I don't do reaction
Tim
stuff.
and I have been talking about building an RTS for many years. This is something that it's a game that needs to be made. This is an audience that needs and deserves another big next step.
Right on.
And it's something that we have been wanting to make for so long. We just decided that this was a plunge we had to take. This was something that we had to do, and there was no other choice for us.
It's been a 1.5-year journey for me so far between raising the financing, building the team, and just getting the operational aspects of the company stood up. At the same time, we've had to build an engine, establish a vision for the gameplay, and also develop a whole new universe.
We gotta move. Now. There's a storm coming.
The genre of RTS, and StarCraft 2 in particular, has had so much loyalty and so much stability in its core fan base that it is inspiring to think about how long RTS has been on the market and how rarely big, impactful RTS games get made for this audience.
I understand the thought process
once in 10 years,
at major publishers around real-time strategy. By nature of having reached the scale that they have, there's an expectation that they're going to focus on the most predictable successes that they can.
Warcraft 3 Reforged is so bad that they won't even show it in this presentation.
They're public companies, their shareholders expect that from them, and it's smart from a business perspective. For us being so passionate about this genre, the question we ask ourselves is not, is this the way that we can maximize return on investment? The question we ask ourselves is, can we make something great that we believe players will love and that we will be proud of at the end of the day? And that's the freedom that comes from being at a smaller company. We're just lucky to be in a position where we can focus on what we're really passionate about.
Our goal is rooted in the personal level. It's rooted in what we love. This is rooted in what we feel. We're not reading off of some spreadsheet and saying the best calculus for us to reach success, to reach the most revenue, is by going into this category and doing this sort of microtransaction, and boom, let's somehow make a game that kind of sort of supports that.
We knew there were two possible approaches we could take. One approach was...
I mean, this is obviously what the fan base wants to hear, right? This is, it's a video from them, so not a documentary or anything, so obviously you present yourself as the underdog developer. But it's smart, and they do it well.
Completely throw out everything that's come before with RTS and try to reimagine the genre as something new. The other approach is to take everything that's come before and try to make improvements based on the feedback that we've gotten working on those things. And we very much took that approach.
One of the things I love most about RTSs is that you can play them in so many different ways, and none of the ways is the right way, the one mode to rule them all, right? RTSs have a huge, rich history in competitive play.
True.
But they're also really well known for incredibly strong stories told through campaigns.
That's
you can
us.
look at a game like StarCraft and you can see such an incredibly strong cooperative mode there.
A lot of players, they find PvP really intimidating. But with the co-op experience, where you're just kind of beating up on an AI player, you know, that's very approachable. And not only that, your friend who is maybe more experienced can bring you in, onboard you, and kind of show you the ropes.
We really believe that...
Show me the ropes, Kevin Dong. Show them to me, please.
Games have moved from being solitary experiences to being social experiences. There's been tremendous evolution, whether you look at MOBA or Battle Royale or even experiences like Roblox that are inherently social. that bring people together in a game world or through a game experience. RTS has offered some multiplayer modes before, and we added 2-player co-op with Legacy of the Void to StarCraft 2, but there really hasn't been an RTS designed from the ground up with facilitating social experiences in mind. And for us...
like, not even Age of Empires did this, right? Like, Age of Empires, as far as I know, has a solid campaign and multiplayer, but that's not what they are talking about.
In the campaign, it's now possible to play cooperatively. Our formerly 2-player co-op mode in StarCraft 2 is now a 3-player open-ended co-op experience in Stormgate.
One of the things we're looking into for 3-player co-op is the idea of soft role differentiation. We want players to be able to fill the roles that they feel very comfortable in. We kind of already have that in a way with StarCraft 2 co-op, where some commanders are better at defending, some commanders are better at attacking, but we want to really emphasize that in Stormgate. We want to say maybe an experienced player can just build the army, can take care of the threats, whereas a more newbie player, someone who's new to the game, is able to kind of just expand, build their bases, defend their bases, and support their ally. Competitive PvP in Stormgate will consist of 2 distinct modes. There's going to be the 1v1 mode, which is going to appeal to the core RTS audience, the core audience that really is into esports and really into the journey to mastery. We're also going to have a looser 3v3 PvP team battle mode in which you can bring in friends and have a lot of fun there.
Story is near and dear to my heart personally, as well as many people on the team. And I want to answer the question about whether or not we're going to support story, whether or not we're going to have a campaign mode, or what that's going to look like. And I want to say unequivocally yes, that we are absolutely going to deliver a fantastic story. We are delivering campaigns that you can play single player. You can also play them co-op, which is a new addition to the genre. I think it's going to bring something new to the table where you can experience these stories, not just by yourself, which is fantastic if that's how you want to do it, but you can also share them with a friend. And in my experiences, cooperative experiences bring a lot of just additional value, additional enjoyment to the table. And so as a team, co-op is something that we believe in, and finding a way to weave that into the story is going to be really important to Stormgate.
That's actually something that Warcraft 2 modders are doing right now. Pretty sick. That is not the new update, by the way. We're a little early. This is something that was released last month. So the real update is happening in 22 minutes.
Command, I may be onto something.
So all kinds of terrible things are happening on Earth. We've got overpopulation, we've got climate change, we have extreme weather, and all of these things have put humanity in a very perilous position.
Is he talking story of Stormgate, or is he talking real life? I'm not sure.
So one of the things I'd like to talk about, if it's all right, is a science program that humanity has initiated to try and address these problems. It's called Sigma. And this ties
Fantasy,
into
apparently.
Stormgates, the name of the game. So the Sigma program, there are different branches of the Sigma program. Sigma 6 is actually part of the program that happens in the Arctic.
Monk in the
And
back.
what they're trying to do is open up a portal to another dimension. So basically, so humanity could escape if they need to get away when the Earth becomes uninhabitable. So they're actually able to do that. They open this portal. It happens during a solar storm in the Arctic. But what they did is they opened a doorway to basically the infernal homeworld.
We all come from different backgrounds as far as games we worked on and at different studios and stuff like that. So we all come in with kind of our own plan. And then as we're kind of working through things, we come up with a lot of different ideas as a group. The ideas are better as a group, I'm finding. We go into a lot of things we're designing and I'm like, okay, I got a plan for what I want this to be. And then as the concept artists kind of get their thoughts into it, we all kind of, it's always pluses that, and then the modelers get it, and then they have ideas that they want to add on to it. And so it's kind of a group design in a way,
How it's
with the
supposed
humans
to
with
be.
the very curvilinear designs and stuff like that, kind of the sleek feel, but then kind of as we're diving more into it. We want kind of a bit more beaten down kind of look, and so we're still kind of figuring a lot of that out right now. And so we all just have, what's neat is we're all bringing our own influences in, and that's what's really nice about being at a smaller studio is like everybody can kind of get their own flavor into the soup in a way.
So the mechs are part of the advanced technology that we're going to see in the game, and we'll see all kinds of things. You know, it's a little bit of a mixture of things that we're very familiar with that really haven't changed very much, and technology that has moved forward and has progressed, and the mechs are part of that. You know, the way we talk about it is basically mechs were originally built to help with, you know, construction projects and things like that. But obviously they're being used against the Infernals. And it helps when you have something that's just as big and powerful as an Infernal to go up against it, as we saw in the cinematic.
We're trying to really think like where technology will be before the apocalypse really happens, and then kind of rediscovering that technology in the process. We're just now kind of getting to like, what is the world like that is not the factions that are fighting it, but the people that are still living there? Is it all beaten down and they're just in little tents here and there? Are they still rebuilding? Do they have buildings that are still existing? And so we're trying to give this kind of lived in kind of vibe. And I'm hoping not to tell like a story artistically that's just like, everyone's just waiting to die. Like I want it to feel like humanity is prospering in groups and in clusters, that the human faction is trying to keep protected and grow, but then also learn from like what humanity has done in the past, being able to harness Mother Nature in a way that's sustainable, and it's not just like continuing to keep taking and stuff like that. So we're looking at like, what would they do for wind energy or sun energy or other ways that we just haven't thought of with biology and algae growth for like food and stuff like that. And it's a lot of thinking about things and talking about it that we then inspire us artistically to then go in and try to build that in the designs of the world and stuff.
So Infernals have been here before. You'll notice that they look demonic. They're not demons in the Judeo-Christian sense of demons, what we on Earth know as demons. They're an otherworldly race that basically goes from one planet to another, and they take resources, they take some of the best fighters on that planet, and they basically turn them into warriors to join the Infernal Army. The Infernal Army is all about numbers.
Sounds like a bit like biological Borg or something.
About, you know, brutality and mass numbers and savage tactics to take over their enemies, which they view as the worlds that they're invading.
We're honestly still exploring what the Infernal look is. I love the idea, and we've talked about this a lot, of what if what we know as a demon now is basically cave paintings and everything handed down, and so it's not just the
Burning Legion all over again. Not the worst comment I've seen today. But I don't know much about the Warcraft lore, so...
The demon we know that's red with horns, but somebody saw a millennia ago a demon, and then that is what got evolved through like the passage of time, and then word of mouth over time, that's what it became that we know of.
You know, we haven't really gotten into the characters yet. We saw a couple of characters. You know, we saw the archaeologist in the announcement cinematic. We saw the mech, we heard the voice of the person who's piloting the mech, but we have some really amazing characters that we've been spending a long time to flesh out and to give really amazing arcs. They're very complex characters. And I think when people start to learn about those characters' journeys and how that's going to fit into some really amazing gameplay, I think people are going to be very excited.
We do these weekly narrative meetings where Mickey and Tim kind of explore like what the story is and the whole background and everything like that, and it is so much bigger than I had in my head. Like it was very simplified for me when we started. It's like, oh, it's going to be
big
this,
words,
and there is this millennia of history that they have figured out and everything like that, and kind of artistically being able to eventually get to all that and explore it as a team is really exciting to me.
So Stormgate, we're designing to really be a game that continues to evolve and move forward every single year.
Yeah, that's what they said before, right? They want continuous updates, so the world has to be big. Challenging.
That you're playing it. On the story side, we'll be able to unveil new twists and new turns and new characters for players to interact with every single year as we're going forward. And that's going to take form in episodic content. We will be releasing additional campaigns on a regular cadence as we move forward. And so there will always be the steady flow of new stories, new interactions, new awesome missions to be playing for people who love that. But even beyond story in all aspects, Stormgate is a game that is designed to be ever evolving. We will be releasing new content on a regular cadence. We will be introducing new characters that can be played in the form of heroes on the team side and on the co-op side. We'll be introducing new maps.
Wait, what?
Story in all aspects. Stormgate is a game that is designed to be ever evolving. We will be releasing new content on a regular cadence. We will be introducing new characters that can be played in the form of heroes on the team side and on the co-op side. We'll be introducing new maps and constantly churning the map pool on the competitive side, introducing balance changes. This is
sounds like campaign though.
Well into
sounds more like commanders in StarCraft,
so
not like competitive. Okay.
Love for many years.
Yeah, that's
with StarCraft 2. We've learned a lot
would
of
have been quite
lessons over
something.
the years. I've spent a lot of time at BlizzCons and things like that, standing behind players who are, playing the game for the first time and watching them play and seeing sort of the struggles that they have. How do we get those people into the game? How do we make it a little bit easier for them to kind of get into the groove, get into the fun of playing the game as quickly as possible?
Part of what we're trying to do is just look for the areas that are creating friction, that are intimidating, and polish those. Not take away the depth, not take away the high skill aspect of the game, not make this baby's first RTS or a dumbed down real-time strategy game.
Damn.
But at the same time, try to put ourselves back into the mindset of what it's like to be a new player coming in, and what were the things that we found intimidating or challenging, and improve those.
There's a lot of things.
As a dev, when I was on StarCraft 2, I heard a lot of stories from like people just on the street, like meeting like you, for example. And I asked them, "Oh, do you know about StarCraft?" They're like, "Yeah, I've heard about StarCraft. Do you play StarCraft?" "Yes, I've played StarCraft. How did you get into StarCraft?" And they answer back, "Oh, my friend got me into StarCraft." And this has been a very common occurrence over the past like 5 or so years of my life.
How do people come to the game? And we think a lot of people come in because their friends are pulling them in or they're recommending them. So what can we do to enhance the onboarding experience when you're playing with your friend who's trying to bring you in? Is there things that we can do there?
Rather than have their friend wait while they try a tutorial, being able to learn how to play the game with your friend at the same time that they're playing a mission, perhaps giving you pointers, is powerful.
What are some of the things about actually playing the game that are a huge barrier to teaching the player how to play? What are some of the things about playing the game that make it something that people might feel is too overwhelming to continue to play once they learn? Like, how can we make it so that people feel really comfortable getting into that groove of having the fun and engaging with the strategy inside the game? We know that players also struggle even once they've learned the basics, because there's so many different micromanagement tasks that are required to even just play the game at even a basic level, that we really want to kind of smooth and improve as we can over time. Control groups are something that are...
I just learned something about Warcraft today that took me 2.5 years to realize. So they're right.
Critically important to RTS games, not just StarCraft 2, but pretty much every RTS game in existence relies upon control groups in one way or another. Control groups allow you to sort of group a set of units and then press a single hotkey to select those units and then issue them orders and things like that. But that's actually a really difficult thing to teach players. One of the things that we're looking at in Stormgate is to have these control groups be automated. So as soon as a unit comes out of a barracks or a factory or something like that, it will automatically be added to a control group. And that makes it really easy for us to teach new players. This whole approach of hitting all of these different things to make sure that we have a social experience when people get into the game. We have team modes so that the game feels has some amount of virality so that people want to bring in their friends to play because there's something to play with their friends. And so that once their friends come in, the game feels easier to onboard through tutorialization or special maps that might make it easier to learn to play alongside your friend, or some of these UI tools that we've talked about, like automated control groups that make it easier to kind of get into the meat of playing the game and having fun, and putting off some of the mechanical barrier maybe to a little bit later in your career as a player.
I have been developing this type of game for many, many years, and I am constantly blown away by the...
Yeah, so we don't have that much time, but the control groups, this could either be super awesome or fail completely and nobody's using it. But exciting approach.
Quality and the variety and just the innovation of the types of maps and mods that the community comes up with when we release tools to them.
User-generated content is an incredibly important part of RTS games, especially, you know, coming from Blizzard RTS game background. Warcraft 3 is maybe the greatest mod platform that ever existed.
The greatest
in entire genre.
In anything.
There are some of the most successful games of all time.
Greatest casters.
League of Legends. These things came from Warcraft 3 essentially. When you open up a new map in our editor, just like Warcraft 3 or StarCraft 2, you're going to see terrain. And so it'd be the first thing you see is a bunch of dirt, and you're going to be able to immediately start raising cliffs and placing trees and, you know, putting units down on it. You need to be able to get in there, and you're going to be able to see that terrain right away so that you can start to feel comfortable in the context of what you're doing. We need an approachable interface. We need a lobby system where people can clearly see the other things people are playing, so that momentum can happen for games where you see people playing, you hop in, that game.
That's something missing for War 3 Champions, by the way. Big fan of bringing that into War 3 Champions.
Gain some popularity, the word starts to spread, and we also know that it needs to be super easy for people to create and share maps very quickly so that they can get their friends in, because that's a really encouraging thing as a developer. For most RTS games, when you want to launch the editor to make a map, you actually have to go, you don't do it within the game itself. You actually have to go into Windows, find the folder for the game, and there will be a separate application that you launch to create a game. By putting it directly in the game, even at the top level, so you have campaign, co-op, create something, that's something that we really want to achieve, because it gets so many more people to try out these tools. And it also puts a lot of impetus on us in order to make sure that the tools are a really first-class experience as well.
Stormgate is absolutely free to play. The decision to go free to play is rooted entirely in our desire to tear down barriers to the RTS genre. We want players to come in and experience the genre that we love. We want to bring not just current fans.
Something Blizzard hasn't done with Reforged in almost 3 years. Screw you.
Fans of RTS. We want to bring people who maybe remember playing an RTS many years ago, but who lapsed, and we want to bring them back. We want to bring in new players. And so lowering that price point barrier to free to play is rooted in making our community healthier and bringing more players in here. But then allowing people to buy more content of the types that they want. So this is something that is entirely opt-in. You can play all these different modes without paying for content there. But if you want more of different types of content, then you can vote with your dollars and you can support us to continue making that type of content for you. We are
Also, you can choose what kind of content you want, right? Like, at least that sounds like it. You want a new campaign, pay for it. You want other skins, pay for it. That's pretty cool as long as it's not pay to win.
Absolutely not pay to win. I don't need to say no NFTs again, but there's no NFTs. And loot boxes, for example, we get asked.
I swear I didn't watch this before.
Loot boxes all the time. Does free to play mean that you're doing some sort of coercive loot box monetization scheme? And no, that's not what we're doing. I can put that concern to ease. Free to play is about bringing more players into RTS so that we can all have fun playing this game together.
Thumbies!
We learned a lot taking StarCraft 2 free to play in 2017. The thing that we saw when we did that was that the player base substantially increased. And as a developer, of course, we want more people to experience what we build, but even for the health of the player community, that bigger player base is critical. I mean, it's like part of our core mission with Stormgate to bring RTS to more players. So it just makes sense for us to be free to play, but it's important for us to approach that in a way that avoids the potential pitfalls of that business model.
We want to make sure that we're thinking about esports from the player perspective. In a lot of games, esports is seen as this high pinnacle of just the most elite players in the world are engaging with this, and then everyone else is relegated to watching. We don't see it
This shirt looks so new. Do you think he bought that shirt for the interview?
that way. We see it as just another way of engaging with the best that you personally can do and pushing yourself to new limits. So when we're thinking about esports and ways that players can engage, we want to look at it in all the different aspects and find things that really speak to different skill levels of players and different types of engaging with the game. Stormgate's integrated esports system is really trying to make it so that getting involved with your first competition is super simple and super approachable. Once you've gotten involved and gotten that taste of competition, we're looking to surface as much information as we can to help players understand what did they do well in a game? What did they maybe misstep and miss a proper strategy or proper execution, so that they can then figure out, okay, if I want to practice and get better, here's the way to do it. And maybe that's going to involve surfacing some content from creators that are really getting involved in the community as well. And we want to make sure there's these touch points that bring the players' enthusiasm and desire to go deeper into the rest of the community and build something that feels really strong for everyone involved. So if you're coming in toward the path to pro and you just want to have a good casual experience with your friends, that's something that we want to reward and make available to you. However, if you want to grow in your experience and try to actually push yourself to your personal limits, maybe try to go professional, we want to make sure that you're getting really high quality competition against other players of similar skill, so that you're getting awesome practice and you're able to push yourself and continue to grow. And that will go through a very predictable and a very approachable path to pro experience, getting you up to the point that you're on broadcast and developing fans and able to speak to the people that are loving the strategies that you're creating and the skill that you're able to show the rest of the world and the rest of the community. We can build this approachable circuit that finds the best players, teaches them what they need to do to level up their game, and then displays these really cool narratives that we're going to be building year-round to show high-quality entertainment to the viewers. This starts from tournaments that we're going to be running ourselves, but it also integrates third-party competitions that we'll be supporting in many different ways, so that anywhere in the world that someone's playing from, they're going to be able to show their skill and show themselves being better than their competitors and getting onto that main stage.
We feel a burden to try to live up to the expectations that players have, and we have our work cut out for us on that front. The best way that the community and players who are interested in Stormgate can help us is by providing feedback, and that's possible to do by participating in the subreddit, which is /r Stormgate, and also looking for opportunities to both participate in the beta and to participate in other feedback sessions that we hold between now and the launch of the product.
The RTS community is the best. That's why we're here. That's why this company was founded.
You're the best,
that's why
everybody.
This game is being made, and why all of this incredible team have come together to make this. It's because of you. It's because of this community.
Yeah, because of you.
And so I just want to encourage you and say thank you. And I can't wait to see where this adventure goes, and hope that we live up to everything that you're wanting to see here. You, the community, are our North Star and why we're building this. So thank you for all the support, and let's go and make a great game together.
All right. Regarding the esports part, by the way, what he just said, I think that's really cool. I think it's really, really cool to have all the tools in the game. So, for example, we run tournaments, but you always have to go to challenge. Because we don't have that, but this built-in system has to provide a lot of good tools, and this was not the update that we've seen before. This was basically a what you missed last time episode summary video. So we're all on board with what they want to do. I said last time, I hope they are not spreading themselves thin, because it's very ambitious on all fronts. Single player co-op, user-generated content, esports, etc. So big tasks, big words, but yeah, let's hope for the best. So yeah, this was just for everybody who missed out on the update on YouTube or hasn't heard about Stormgate. It's on Steam, by the way. You can wishlist this, helps with the algorithm, might get you into beta. Let's watch and dissect this.
It's been about 6 months since we announced Stormgate, and we want to provide an update on our development. We're actually building our own game engine, And no, that doesn't mean that we're not using Unreal Engine 5. Unreal Engine 5 is powering all of the graphics and sound and input, provides the pathways for all of the art that we put into the game. But the gameplay itself is driven by a piece of technology that we're developing called Snowplay. Snowplay is a custom-developed engine for real-time strategy. It is a set of logic that is being built exclusively by our team here at FrostGiant, designed to handle the high unit counts and the low latency networking that are necessary to facilitate a really great real-time strategy game. You're going to hear today from James Anhalt, our chief architect, who is leading the development of Snowplay. And you're also going to hear from our art director, Jesse Brophy, who is leading the design for each of the factions or races that are going to be featured in our game.
Snowplay is the deterministic game engine that we built to provide us with fast, smooth, responsive RTS gameplay. Snowplay is all about making Stormgate more fun. The fun in the game comes from how responsive the game is and how it just feels to play it. Unreal Engine 5 provides a client-server networking model, but we require a networking model that supports a large number of units. And Snowplay gives us this deterministic engine where we can just simulate the game based on the player inputs. Snowplay allows us to simulate Stormgate at 60 Hz for smooth, responsive gameplay feel. It'll be the most responsive RTS game I've ever worked on, and I've worked on a few great ones. Rollback allows us to reduce the lag a player feels playing the game over the internet. Rollback works by allowing us to simulate the game even in the absence of player input. And if we receive input later, we can roll back to that time that the input happened and then simulate forward really quickly to catch back up. Snowplay allows us to mass spectate games where the viewer can rewind, have instant replays, and then fast forward back to where they were originally. Because Snowplay is deterministic, we can mass spectate a live game by broadcasting just the player's actions to the viewers and re-simulate the game on their computers. Snowplay...
Isn't that what Warcraft does in replays? But, okay, rollback is amazing. Like, this is what fighting games are doing, and I thought it would not be possible for RTS because so many units are doing stuff and not just one. But holy smokes, rollback in RTS could be huge!
It enables designers to iterate quickly by compiling all the game logic into WebAssembly so that they can iterate while never leaving the game. This also unlocks the potential for modders to be able to iterate quickly and reach the same level of polish.
The art team's been focused on a lot of things in the last 5 months. We wanted to get a unified visual vision for both the Resistance and the Infernal Host. We're also doing a lot of work on our core technology inside of Unreal, as well as a great deal of environment work for our terrain and our cliff systems. We're calling the human faction the Resistance, and they're humanity's last line of defense against the infernal invaders. They're a scrappy group. They've preserved knowledge about advanced robotics and scientific know-how, and this gives us a lot of options for mech designs, as well as creative exploration of future technologies. Recently, the concept team took about 6 weeks to focus on the visual development of the Resistance. We didn't have design briefs, and none of these are specifically going to go into game. It's just us exploring visually what the faction's going to look like. This first image is by Leah, one of our concept artists, and it's just her exploring stuff that she kind of wanted to look into visually. She got inspiration from Buzz Lightyear and F-14 Tomcats, and this is the result of that. This next image is one created by Timmy, one of our concept artists as well, and it's his take on what a Resistance flying unit could look like. This final unit is called the Gigamech, created by John Ryder. We don't know if this mech will ever make it into the game, but artistically we wanted to explore what it could look like if there was an end game unit, something that was so massive when it came onto the battlefield that one side was going to have to win over the other. The Infernal Host is a violent, warmongering society of alien creatures. They travel through Stormgates, from planet to planet, conquering any life forms that they come across. Anything strong enough to fight back is assimilated into their ranks. Their main purpose is for resources, primarily what we would call life force or anima. Earth has a great deal of anima, which makes it a high-value target to the Infernals. To them, energy equals power. The human faction uses advanced robotics. The Infernals use magic. Just like the Resistance visual development that we did, we also did the same thing for the Infernals. We took 6 weeks to really focus on what the designs are going to be so that we had a unified language for the team. This image is what we're calling the Mist Reaper. We loved it the second Leah drew it. The It, again, was all part of our exploration to go, how do we want to design the Inferno?
Is it just me? No, it's not just me. The Buzz Lightyear dude, clearly StarCraft. This dude, 100% Diablo.
This image is by TJ, again, one of our concept artists. And he really wanted to explore the structures of the Infernals and what the shape language was and what type of materials we could use to explore them. This final image by Tom, one of our concept artists, is what we're calling the Worker right now. We wanted to keep the Infernals very dark and gritty, but there's some areas where we want to have some charm and levity, and we thought this would be a great place to do it. Again, we don't know if any of these units will make it into the game. We were just exploring visually as a team.
So that's what we've been working on. I know everybody's eager for some gameplay footage, and we will share some gameplay footage next year before closed testing starts. But in the meantime, I want to wish you a happy holiday on behalf of everyone here on the FrostGiant development team.
Okay. Little underwhelmed, to be honest. I feel like I can't totally get why... There was a little extra. Okay, I won't save you from this extra.
Cinnamon. Good boy.
Cat content. All right. So yeah, a little underwhelming in my opinion. Makes sense why they didn't advertise it big or made a presentation at a convention about this. Very, very small update, my opinion. And was this well done? I'm not too sure. After half a year, you're showing something, or you're supposed to show something new, and you dive into tech babble. What you show is pretty damn cool, because rollback would help a lot with ping and connectivity and responsiveness, etc. But we haven't heard from these guys in a long time, despite like some social media videos and stuff. And then this is not exciting, really. And also only a bit of artwork. This is not exciting. And I don't know. Is it just me, or of course it's important to look back on designs and stuff to see if you're on the right track. But if the beta is supposed to come out next year, and I guess there's more than 2 factions, shouldn't that be done by now? I feel like what we've seen was not really creative from the art style thing. Was very, very clear. It's a Terran at Diablo. Little info, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I expected a little more than just 2 pictures and 2 slides of a PowerPoint, to be honest. So once again, I said this before the video, whatever they want to do is very, very ambitious, and they are not a AAA developer, it's a small, new team. So they promised a lot, and I really hope they can deliver. All right, so I think the technology part is cool. And we all know that Fluxo is on the job, so it will be awesome. We have 2 people that we know on the job here, and that is Monk, who we love, and that is Fluxo, who we love. So this has to be good. What's your opinion, guys? So they are developing a new game engine or something that is connected to Unreal Engine. The overall thing is Unreal Engine. Did I say Undead Engine? Yeah, my Warcraft brain. Definitely Unreal Engine, but they build something on top of it or below it, so it works better for RTS, because I think nothing's optimized for RTS, because nobody builds RTS, really. So what they do now is like tailor-made for RTS, which is great. And I think necessary. Thank you for the $10, Chronix. I want to thank you that you keep the game and the community alive. I thought Warcraft would be dead, but you guys make me having a lot of fun again in Warcraft. Thank you so much, and keep on the great work. Back to Warcraft YouTube channel is my Netflix. Awesome. Back to Warcraft and chill. That's what they say. So yeah. I thought this would be more. It's not. all right. I think we have to wait a little longer. Okay, Sefit is smart and says it will be very nice and it's good they're building the foundations nicely. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. And yeah, I mean, having this rollback technology is once again a sign that they are doing things correctly with a vision in mind, with the future in mind. And that's a good thing. Another good thing, even though we're a little disappointed that not much was shared. Until then, everybody, maybe we see each other on ladder. Maybe we see each other here on the stream. Peace.